Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Resurrected. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about welding, and that's more specifically auto body welding. Now, I don't know if you know much about the show, but in this channel what I do is I am a rebuilder. So what that means is when you get in a car accident and your car gets totaled by the insurance company, I go to the auction where they sell and liquidate that car, and I fight with other rebuilders, exporters, and salvage yards to get that car. And when I do, I rebuild it, or I fix it up and turn it into a whole car again. And I'll either keep the car, sell the car, you know, that's typically what I would do with it. Typically I'm trying to sell a car for a profit, and selling these salvage title / rebuilt title vehicles, as well as car parts and stuff. So I do this on a small scale, and I do this in a home residential garage. So today I want to talk to you though about the welder that I use, and this is a Hobart welder. It's the Hobart Handler 190. So I want to give you a little bit of an overview of this welder, as well as a review of the welder, and then I'm going to take you around the workshop and just briefly and show you the kind of stuff that I use to get all of these different various aspects of car repair done in a small space. Alright, so I'm going to get right into the welder overview and review. This is the welder that I use. It's the Hobart Handler 190, and this is a 230 volt wire feed welder. So when I got this welder, I had to make an outlet to plug this in. So my breaker box is right here, and I just added these two outlets. One is for my compressor and another one for the welder. So this is where I would typically hook up the welder, and what I do is if I need to work on, I can really move this welder pretty much anywhere in the garage, and what allows me to do that, I can even go outside of my garage if I need to. But this giant extension cord right here that I picked up on Amazon, you know, I can just plug this in. I get about, I believe it's like 50 feet. So I can actually work in my driveway. I can go into the backyard behind the fence. I can weld out there. That's a really handy thing to have with a MIG welder. So let me tell you a little bit about this welder. So I had the previous version of this welder, the 187, which was a fantastic welder. I bought that thing secondhand, and I just was able to make really nice welds with it. Very impressed with the quality of it compared to what it actually costs. So, you know, this is not the best welder you can pick up that's this size. I mean, I think the Miller welders are probably better, but you know, they're like 3 times the cost. So this Hobart welder, you know, for the amount of times that I use it, it does really well. I'm not a professional welder that welds every single day, and I think even in auto body repairs, you know, you may or may not be welding every single day. So this one, it does the trick for me. I want to say I paid about, this thing, they were running a special when I bought it, but it was $6.99 when I got it. It was open box, so it was discounted a little bit more. But this was a kit that came with this box here, which is a spool gun, and the spool gun is for doing aluminum. So there it is right there, that's the spool. This part right here hooks up here, so you just have to pull all of this out and then hook up this spool gun. And then the reason, if you don't already know about MIG welders and spool guns, the spool gun is for aluminum, because typically, you know, this is mild steel wire right here, but if you tried to put the aluminum wire here, it wouldn't feed through the system. It would get all jammed up and bunched up. So that's why they have spool guns, so you can weld aluminum. And I did learn later that, you know, the spool gun isn't completely necessary, because if you buy another cable like this that's shorter and you keep your cable straight and you have a really good liner inside of it, from what I've been told, you can actually use the aluminum wire. But I didn't know that at the time, so I just went out and bought this one, and I sold my old one. But you know, I basically almost got an even-steven trade. I sold mine used, and I almost got all the money I needed to buy this one that was on sale. So it worked out, and this is a great welder so far. It's done really well. So right now, you know, you're going to need, with this type of welder, when you're doing auto body repairs, you're going to need some type of gas, because typically auto body repairs call for MIG welding, which would involve gas. So this is for mild steel. This tank that I have here, right now I have, this is 75% carbon, I'm sorry, 75% argon and 25% carbon dioxide. That is what you're typically going to use on your welding with your unibody. So like here's a BMW that we're working on, and on this unibody we need to weld these inserts in to repair the frame rail. So that's going to be typically the gas you would use with a steel type wire. But let me show you some of the other wires that I use with this welder. We have this is a stainless steel wire, so you can weld stainless steel with a MIG welder. Some people don't know that. I've seen a lot of people online saying that you can't do it, but you can. And here's the which gas is it? I think it's this gas here. It's the helium, argon, and carbon dioxide blend. This is a very expensive gas, but you can make some decent looking stainless steel welds once you kind of learn the technique. For aluminum, you're going to need straight argon, so that's what I have here. That is not so expensive, but yeah, this is what they call it exotic blend gas. And for this small tank, I mean, the tank itself is, I don't know, $150 just for the tank, and then the contents, it's like another $200. The actual gas inside is pretty expensive. This gas here might be, I think it's like under $100. And then this gas, the carbon argon, I believe is the cheapest, that blend, because carbon is probably the cheapest component. So these are the different wires. Stainless steel. I have a higher strength steel here, so that's good for some auto body type repairs. Depending on what part of the frame you're working on, it will dictate what wire you should be using. So that's something you have to consult a auto body manual when you're welding. This is aluminum wire. We weld aluminum, and this stuff is called Bowler Union. This is like when you're doing certain unibodies like Hondas that call for high strength steel. This is the welding wire that's recommended. So a few different types of welding wire. And what I will say about this welder is this type of setup, whether or not you like Hobart or you like another brand, a welder like this though is very diverse. You can do a lot of different things with it, and really for auto body repairs, if you have only a space for one welder, this is the type of welder you should get. I would love to have a TIG welder. A TIG welder is something that a professional welder would use. Some body shops use them as well, and they make really great looking welds. So if you look at this aluminum subframe on this BMW, most likely this here would be done with a TIG welder, and that makes a very nice looking weld. So it's a little bit harder to replicate that kind of a weld with a MIG welder, because a lot of times you get spatter, and so spatter just means molten metals flinging around everywhere, and then it gets stuck and you feel it, and it's sometimes you get some nice really good looking welds and sometimes you don't. So it's a little bit harder to get a consistent looking weld out of a MIG welder. But once you have some experience MIG welding, it does become a little bit more consistent. So yeah, here it is. This is the welder I use, and I've tried some other welders. I like the Lincolns a lot. I've made some nice welds with that. I tried some Harbor Freight ones, some older ones. I really couldn't get that dialed in, but I don't know, maybe if I'd spent more time with it, it would have worked well. And I haven't tried the new Vulcan welders at Harbor Freight as well. So if you guys have any feedback on the welders you use, please let me know below in the comments, or if you have any other suggestions for any type of equipment that might work in my small space. So just briefly, in case any of you guys are interested in kind of my overall shop setup here in my house garage, I'm just going to go through that real quick. But this is my auto body supplies here. This is my automotive fluids area here. and more auto body on the down here. This is home stuff, which I'm trying to get out. I just got a storage container. I'm getting anything home related out of here because that's just not important to me. So here's my compressor, an old Campbell Hausfeld 60 gallon. I got this thing on Craigslist for like $100, and this thing, it's just built like a World War II tank. I mean, I've been trying to kill this thing so I can buy another one, but it won't die, so I'm gonna keep running it. Here's my classic 1970s era, or maybe 1980s era Snap-on toolbox that I got from a retired mechanic. It's not the prettiest looking toolbox, but it is, I mean, you could hide behind this thing and just take a direct hit from an RPG. This thing is super solid. I've checked out some of the newer boxes. I don't even know if they're really built as durable as this box, but you know, if I'm wrong, let me know. Here's my newer Matco box. I want like one of those big boxes, but in a small garage, you know, I need to be more modular and have things kind of move around. So that's why I've chosen two kind of smaller boxes with a more not as long or deep of a dimension, so that I can get more space in this tiny garage. If you watch the show, this is my Chief Velocity frame measuring system that I recently picked up that I'm going to start using on my next rebuild. And if you've watched also some of the other videos, this is my Max Jack's car lift that I have, 2-post lift for the home garage, and we have the frame straightener underneath this BMW that I'm working on. So we did another review on this already, but as you can see, here's the pulling tower, and we're already done with the frame pulls on this car, so we need the next stage is to do some welding. So stay tuned for that to see some actual welding with the Hobart Welder. And these are some of my workbenches, and I'm trying to clear all this stuff out as well. A lot of these parts have to go back on the BMW, so it's, as you can see, it can be challenging in a small space to keep everything kind of organized, but it's possible to do auto body, mechanical, and we're going to show you how I do paint later, but basically it involves a type of tent structure and a different type of auto body spraying than maybe some are used to, but I'll show you that on a future video. Alright guys, so as always, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like any of these videos, please hit the thumbs up button. If you want to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. If you don't like this video, hit the thumbs down button. And, you know, if you're just kind of indifferent and you don't care, don't do anything. Honestly, I really know for certainty that you're going to be compliant with this request because there is no other options. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next video.